In this video, you'll learn how to simplify and solve rational expressions. Which expression represents the quotient 8x to the 6th z to the 4th plus 4x to the 4th z squared over 4x squared z? So we have 8x to the 6th z to the 4th plus 4x to the 4th z squared over 4x squared z. Now, the first thing we do is we factor out the common factors or the common terms. For the numerator, 4 here is a common factor, as well as x to the 4th and z squared. Alright, so we can write this as 4x to the 4th z squared. Then we'll be left with 2x squared z squared plus, alright, so that will be 1. Alright, then over 4x squared z. Then we can cancel out 4 here, because we can divide 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then x to the 4th over x squared, we subtract the exponent. This would become x to the 4th minus 2, or simply just x squared, and then z squared minus z squared over z is just z to the power of 2 minus 1, which is just z. Then we'll be left with x squared z times 2x squared z squared plus 1. Alright, this is supposed to be your answer, but take note in the options given here, we don't have that. So that means we need to distribute x squared z back to the expression inside the parentheses. So that would be x squared z times 2x squared z squared plus x squared z times 1. Then we simplify that further. Right. This would become x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. So this is just 2x to the 4th. Then z times z squared is z cubed plus x squared z. Therefore, the answer here is letter A. Which expression represents the quotient for x squared y over 8x y squared divided by 12xy squared over 8x to the 6th y cubed? Now, to divide by a fraction, here we just multiply by the reciprocal of this fraction. So we can write this as 4x squared y over 8xy squared times, we flip this one, so this would become 8x to the 6th y cubed over 12xy squared. Then we can simplify. 4 here and 8 are both divisible by 4, so this would become 1 and this one is 2. And then x squared divided by x, we just subtract exponents. So we'll be left with x sub 1. And then y squared, we subtract exponents. Then we'll be left with y sub 1 in the denominator. And then for 8 and 12, 8 and 12 are both divisible by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. Then 12 divided by 4 is 3. Then we divide x to the 6th by x to the 1. So we just subtract their exponents. 6 minus 1, so this would become x to the 5th. Then this one, y cubed over y squared, is just y to the 3 minus 2, which is y to the 1. So this would become x over 2y times 2x to the 5th y over 3. Then we multiply them, both the numerators and denominators. So this would become x times 2x to the 5th y over 2y times 3. Then we'll have 2x to the 6th, because when you multiply terms with the same basis, you just have to add their exponents. Then y over 2y times 3, that would be 6y, or we can just simply write this as 2y times 3, so it'd be easier to cancel the common factors. So we cancel 2 here, then we cancel y, then we'll be left with x to the 6th over 3. Therefore, the answer here is letter C. By the way, if you're confused about this, let me just write this one by one. So this is what we did. We flip the denominator. We have 4x squared y over 8x y squared times 8x to the 6th y cubed over 12x y squared. So you can do this one by one. You separate 4 over 8 times x squared over x times y over y squared times 8 over 12 times x to the 6th over x times y cubed over y squared. So it'd be easier. Then you'll get the same answer. So this one, it becomes 1/2. Then this one is x sub 1. This one is x to the power of 1 rather. Then 1 over y times 2 thirds. Then x to the 5th y. When you combine them, you multiply them, and we get 2x to the 5th y over 2y times 3. The same as this. Now 2 times x to the 6th. Then we get the same answer.